In today's video, we're going to be building an AI appointment setter using Flowise, which is based on LangChain that has the ability to set appointments as well as collect user data and save it into a CRM. We are going to go over this whole project from A to Z, and you do not need to be able to code in order to follow along with this tutorial. There is a little bit of code involved in this project. However, you will be able to copy all of my code that I'm using in this video for free in our school community at school.com/OmniFusion. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it. So if you've never used Flowise before, I would recommend watching a different video of mine walking you through exactly how to set up Flowise. You can think of Flowise as an open source visual interface which allows you to build LangChain agents without using any code. It has a ton of advanced capabilities, and I will be making a lot more videos in the future, so make sure to subscribe. So once you've watched the other video and you actually have Flowise set up and installed on your own server, this is going to be what you're going to see in the chat flows section. What we're going to do here in order to get started is simply click on add new, and we're going to have an untitled chat flow which we're going to save as AI appointment setter with CRM integration. We're going to go ahead and save it like that, and now we need to jump right in and add a couple nodes. So what we're going to do right here, we're going to click on add nodes. The first thing we're going to do is add in our agent. We're going to scroll to the very bottom and we're going to be adding in our tool agent. This is going to be the agent where we control the system prompt of what the appointment setter is supposed to do. We can hook it up to any tools, including a knowledge base, which we're going to add, as well as the tool to be able to save data into the CRM. We're going to give it memory, and we're going to connect it to OpenAI in order to be able to generate responses. So the first thing we're going to do is add the chat model, which is going to be in this case OpenAI. So we're simply going to open up the nodes and we're going to search for OpenAI, and we're going to use this chat OpenAI node right here. If you guys are enjoying this tutorial right now, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It would really help us out a lot. We're going to take this and we're going to hook it up with the tool calling chat model so that our agent now has access to OpenAI. We simply need to set up the credentials, we need to select our model, and we need to set the temperature. We're going to start with the credentials, where you simply select the drop down, you click on create new, and here you're going to be able to set up your credentials. For this, you're simply going to head over to platform.openai.com. You're going to click on API keys, and here you're going to go ahead and create a new secret key. You can name this secret key whatever you want. In this case, I'm going to choose appointment setter, and you're going to click on create secret key. You then go ahead and copy the secret key, you go back into Flowise, and you enter the key down here. You can now also save this as whatever you like for the name, and in this case, we are going to select appointment setter tutorial and paste in the key. We now have it saved. We're now going to go ahead and select GPT-4o, which is my favorite model to use, as well as the temperature we're going to set to 0.3. Now that we've set up the OpenAI node, we are going to move on to the memory, and we're going to give our chatbot some memory functionality. So what you can do for this is you can use custom memories such as MongoDB or other options. What we're going to do instead in this case is go to the memory section, and we're going to use buffer window memory. We're going to take this buffer window memory, we're going to connect it up to the memory node, and we're going to specify the size. The size is the amount of back and forth interactions that you want to allow. So one user message and one AI message is one size. So that is how many back and forths you can go. I usually like to put it at 10. If you're using something like MongoDB, it will have a lot more memory than just this. You can also increase, you can decrease, you can play around with this a little bit, but 10 should be a good starting point right here. Now we're going to give our agent access to a knowledge base in the form of a tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in retriever in our nodes. We're going to scroll down and we're going to find the retriever tool. We're simply going to drag it onto the canvas and hook that up to the tools. This is what our agent is going to use in order to retrieve information about whatever business we have. So we can upload text files, we can upload Word documents, PDFs, whatever we want to do in order to give our chatbot knowledge. We're simply going to call this tool FAQs, and we're going to say use this tool to find answers to frequently asked questions. Now we're going to have to pick a retriever, in which case we are going to use Quadrant. We're going to pick this new Quadrant node right here. We're going to drag it onto the canvas, and we're going to hook it up to the retriever tool right here. We now need to actually go over to quadrant.tech, and we can start for free. There is a free plan which is going to allow you to start testing this system. Now once you've signed up to your free Quadrant account, you simply go ahead and click on clusters, and here you're going to see all the different clusters that you have, which in your case may be 0. You're going to click on create, and here we're going to set up a free cluster, which is the best way to get started, as Quadrant says themselves. themselves. However, there is one important thing to pay attention to. You are going to have to keep using this cluster because if it's inactive for 7 days, it will get deleted. We then simply scroll down. We can name it whatever we want to name it. In this case, I'm going to do appointment setter tutorial. We're going to scroll down and we're going to click on create. Now that I've created the cluster, you can see that the status is unknown, which means that it is still in progress. In the meantime, we're simply going to open up the dropdown and we're going to copy the cluster URL right here. We're going to copy this URL. We're going to go back into our Flowise project and we're going to enter the URL as the quadrant server URL right here. We're then going to go back and we're going to find the quadrant collection name, which in this case is appointment setter tutorial. So this is whatever you name the collection as. So I'm going to type in here appointment setter tutorial as the quadrant collection name. And now all that's left is our credential, which is our API key. So you can simply click here on API keys. It's going to take you to your API key section. You then simply go ahead and click on create. And in this dropdown, you're going to select the one that you just set up, which in my case is appointment setter tutorial. And you're going to go ahead and click on OK. This is now going to be displaying your API key. And by the time that you're watching this video, this one is already deleted. So don't use it. I'm going to copy this to my clipboard. I'm going to go back into Flowise. On the connect credential, I'm going to open up the dropdown. I'm going to click on create new. I'm going to name the credential. In this case, I'm just going to call it the same as I did in quadrant, which is appointment setter tutorial. And I'm going to paste in the API key that I just copied and go ahead and click add. Now, the next thing we're going to have to do is add some embeddings. And in this case, we're going to be using OpenAI embeddings, which is going to be used in order to format the documents which we provide knowledge base. So we're going to use embeddings right here. In the connect credential, we're going to open up the dropdown and we're going to select the appointment setter tutorial, which is the API key that we just used down here as well. At this point in time, our appointment setter is already usable. So I'm going to go ahead and click on save. And before you do this, make sure that you go back into quadrant, go to the clusters and make sure that it says healthy on the cluster which you just created. So I'm just going to go ahead and send a quick message. I'm just going to go ahead and say hi, just in order to see that everything that we've done so far is working. If you're not getting a response here, make sure to double check all your API keys and what we just did in order to make sure that everything is fine here. We're also going to go ahead and test out the memory. So I'm going to say my name is Emil. And now I'm going to say what is my name? And it's going to reply back saying that my name is Emil, which is fantastic. In order to clear your chat, you're simply going to click this red button and clear the chat history. And now it's all reset. Now, obviously, we do not have a suitable prompt yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on the system message in just a second. This system message is going to be the prompt for your entire AI appointment setter. This is going to be what tells the agent exactly what and when to do something, as well as know when to use the specific tools. The way that I like to structure appointment setters is to have the context first, the instructions second, the knowledge third, and in this case with an appointment setter, we are also going to be adding in some steps. So first things first, let's add in the context. We're going to put a hashtag in front of each of these because I find that it does help the AI better understand the structure of this specific prompt. And in the context, we're going to say your name is Mike. You are an appointment setter for OmniFusion AI. Your task is to qualify leads. And this part actually does not belong in the context. It belongs in the instructions. So I'm going to copy that down here, which shows you that even if you've built 50 plus chatbots in Flowise, mistakes still happen. But your name is Mike. You're an appointment setter for OmniFusion AI. You are speaking to a user inside of Instagram DMs. And now we're just going to give it some tone. You speak in a friendly, relaxed, yet professional manner. And that should be enough for the context for now. The prompt is going to be a lot of work. That's usually where most of the work goes into when building an AI appointment setter. So this is something that you really should spend a lot of time on. Personally, we spend usually a couple hours at least really tweaking and testing the prompt. For some projects, when it's a super complex appointment setter, we take even up to 10 to 12 hours just to really refine and perfect the prompt. Now we're going to move on to the instructions where we are going to say your task is to qualify leads based on the steps listed below. Before we continue with the instructions, I'm actually going to hop back up to the context and add some more information about OmniFusion AI. OmniFusion is an AI development agency specializing in creating AI sales systems. AI, which is redundant, so I'm just going to say AI sales systems. For the instructions, your task is to qualify leads based on the steps listed below. Follow the steps throughout conversation while acting like a human would. Do not stick to the steps if it doesn't make logical sense to do so. Do not skip over steps of the script. I'm actually going to rename this script steps. Do not skip over steps of the script. You need to collect all information required from the user. We're now going to move on to the script steps, where we're going to say step 1, ask the user their name and what they are currently struggling with in their business. For step 2, we're going to find out the user's monthly revenue. For step 3, we're going to find out the size of the team. And finally, we're going to ask for an email so we can reach out with more information. So these steps you can adjust as you wish. Obviously, a real appointment setter is going to have much more sophisticated steps than just this. This is just to showcase that we're going to be collecting this information and we're going to be saving it into a CRM later on in this video, which is going to be super exciting. So I'm excited to show you guys all of that. Finally, for the knowledge, we're going to say always run your FAQs tool when answering a question. Never use your general knowledge. Always run the tool. This is going to ensure that it does not make up random information based on its knowledge, but instead it's going to run the tool to get information from the documents which we're about to provide it with. So we're going to go ahead and click on save, and we're going to save the project up here. And now we can quickly test it and see if it's now following those steps. Hey, how's it going? I'm Mike from OmniFusion AI. What's your name and what are you currently struggling with in your business? Emil, I'm struggling with setting appointments at scale. Nice to meet you, Emil. Boom, boom, boom. Monthly revenue, and it's going to follow the script and so on. Now, the next 2 things we're going to do is we're going to add in some knowledge to this appointment setter, as well as give it the capability to save it into a CRM. So all the data that we collect on a user, we're going to import it into a CRM, which is going to be great. In order to add a document, all we're going to do is go right here. We're going to search for docx. We're going to select the docx file. There's a lot of other file types that you can use, but I prefer using docx documents, which is a simple Word document, by the way, in case you didn't know. We're going to add a text splitter to this, which is going to split the text of this docx file into smaller chunks so that it can be processed into the knowledge base. In this case, we're going to use a recursive character text splitter. We're going to hook that up to the docx file node. We're going to do the chunk size at 1500, and the overlap we're going to do 20. We're then going to go ahead and quickly save it in Flowise. It's always important to get into the habit of saving these things, and we're going to go ahead and upload a file which has some knowledge on our business. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this document which has our OmniFusion AI knowledge base. It's now uploaded right here, and now as you can see, this green button just appeared in the top right. We're going to go ahead and click that, and we're going to click on Upsert. Now that we've added the document, it says 7 added documents right here, and you can see that we have a ton of information which is now being given to this AI appointment setter in the form of a knowledge base. If you want to see what you have inside of Quadrant, you simply go ahead and click on the cluster which you set up. You click on Open Dashboard, and here you're simply going to insert the API key which you just created earlier, and it's now going to show you appointment setter tutorial where you can see all the content, and this is actually how you are able to edit it too. You simply click on Edit Payload, and here you can change any of this information. This is a little bit older. By now, a lot of things have changed about what we do at OmniFusion AI, but this is going to be more than enough for this tutorial. So now I go ahead and ask my question, what types of projects do you do? You can see that it gives me a big list of things that we do, and you can actually see up here, and the user that's chatting to the AI will not be able to see that it actually ran the FAQs tool and it searched for types of projects, and it got a ton of information back, which is then used to respond to the question. We do AI persona chatbots, FAQ integration, appointment setting, lead tracking, advanced AI automation systems. This has changed a little bit, but as you can see, it does have all of the information. And then at the end, it actually proceeds with the script, and it says, is there a specific area you're currently struggling with in your business that we might be able to help with? Now, a lot of you guys might think, okay, this message is way too long. I don't want to be sending this length of a message when I'm just trying to set an appointment with someone. So to do that, we would change the system prompt, and we would simply go into here, keep your messages short and concise. Don't forget you are speaking inside of Instagram DMs where long messages are hard to read. We're going to go ahead and save that, and now we're going to go back and we're going to copy the question that we just said. We're going to ask the same exact question again and see how the response is different. And as you can see, it's a much more concise response now. Instead of giving us all this random information, it condensed it down. So really playing around with the prompt can make a big difference with all of these things. Now let's get to the juicy part. Now that we have our appointment setter set up, it has its steps to follow. We have a knowledge base. Let's set up the CRM integration. For this purpose, we're going to be using Zapier, and as our CRM, we're going to be using a simple Google Sheet, but anything that has an API integration can be used. So any tool that's integrated with Zapier natively, you can use that. Or if it's not part of Zapier, you can simply ping the API of that specific tool in order to save the information into your CRM. So what we're going to do for this is we're going to go over here and we're going to search for custom tool. We're going to select the custom tool and we're going to drag it in over here. Now for this custom tool, I will be providing the code in our school community at school.com/omnifusion. It's totally free. You can join to get the code over there. Now in order to create our custom tool, we're going to go to the drop down. We're going to scroll right to the bottom if you already have some created, and we're going to click on create new. We're going to name the tool something simple. It should have no spaces and all in lowercase. So in this case, we're going to do update CRM with an underscore in between. This is how I like to name my tools. For the description, we're going to say use this tool to save the user's information into a CRM at the end of a conversation. So we're simply going to set it up like this. We're then going to go down and set up some properties. So the properties are going to be the information that we are getting from the user, which we do want to save. So we're going to click on add an item. We're going to go to property and we're going to name the different properties that we have. So first thing first, we're going to have name. The second one that we have is going to be the email. The third one is going to be the monthly revenue. Then we're going to go ahead and add another item, which is going to be the biggest struggle. And finally, we're going to save the size of team. We're then going to set the type for all of these as a string. So we're simply going to click through and select string for every single one of these values. And this is in order to allow the AI to fill out these different things. The description is going to allow the AI to understand what to put where. So we're going to say the name of the user is the description. The email of the user is the description for the email. The monthly revenue, the user's monthly revenue. The biggest struggle, the user's biggest struggle in their business. The size of the user's team. So now that we've set up all of these values, we are going to have some code. And again, don't worry, you can simply go ahead and take this code from our school community. So down here in the JavaScript function, you're simply going to go to the school community, copy out the code, and you're going to paste it into here. As you can see, there's a lot going on here, but don't worry, I'm about to walk you through the key components. First things first, you can see that we have Zapier URL here written right there. We're going to set this up in a second, but this is where your Zapier webhook URL is going to go so that we can send this information to Zapier and then go ahead and add it to a sheet. Down here, we have the different variables set up. And as you can see, these are the exact same variables which we have up here. So first things first, we have the name, which is the variable $name. We have the email, which is the variable $email. You always need to put a dollar for the name of this variable. So in this case, monthly revenue is how I named it. And then the value, and there's a mistake actually here, is $monthly underscore revenue. And then biggest struggle is $biggest underscore struggle, and so on. If you want to adjust your script to have a ton of different information, such as a phone number, or you're asking different questions, you would simply need to adjust these variables here and in the code, and you are good to go. Now, the next thing we're going to do is go over to zapier.com, and we're going to set up our custom webhook right here. So we're going to go ahead and click on create, and we're going to set up an automated workflow. In this automated workflow, we're simply going to go to a trigger event, which in this case is going to be webhooks by Zapier. We are going to go ahead and click on choose an event, which is going to be catch raw hook, and we're going to go ahead and click on continue. We now have a test webhook URL, which we can take right here, and we can take this URL and we can simply paste it into Zapier URL here. We're now going to save this tool. We're going to save the project, and we're actually going to do a quick change in the tool agent in order for it to be able to call it. Once you have all information, use the, and now we need to see what I called it. I called it update underscore CRM. So we're going to say use the update underscore CRM tool to save all the users' information, then wish them a great day. So now that we've adjusted this, we're going to save it, and we're going to go ahead and test out a conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to say, my name is Emil, struggling with revenue. It's 50K per month. How big is your team? 10 people. Thanks for the info. The email is info@omnifusion.ai. And now it's actually run the update CRM tool. It said, thank you, Emil. I've got all the information. We'll be in touch soon. And we're going to go back to Zapier, and we're going to click on test trigger, where we can find that we have 2 records pulled right here. If we go ahead and scroll through all of this, we can see that we have the raw body right here, which has the name, Emil, the email, info@omnifusion.ai, the monthly revenue, 50K, the biggest struggle, revenue, the size of team, 10, and we have all that information right there. So now that we've successfully tested it, and we can see that we have all of the information that we need in the raw body, we are actually going going to go ahead and continue with this selected record. Now, what do we want to do next? In this case, as I said, you can select whatever you want. HubSpot, Notion, MailChimp, Slack, Google Sheets, wherever you want to put it. In this case, I'm simply going to go ahead and select a Google Sheet, and we're going to go ahead and create a spreadsheet row. We're then simply going to go ahead and click on continue. We have our account selected right here. If you don't have it, you can simply hook it up. We're going to click on continue. And now for this purpose, we're going to have to set up a spreadsheet, for which we're just going to open up a new tab, go here, click on Sheets. We're going to go ahead and open a blank spreadsheet, and we're going to name this Appointment Setter CRM. We have this sheet saved. We're going to go back into Zapier. We're going to choose our drive, which we're going to select as My Google Drive. We're going to go ahead and select the spreadsheet, which is going to be Appointment Setter CRM, and the worksheet, which is going to be Sheet 1. There aren't any headers in the sheet, so we're going to do this real quick. We're going to add in some headers, which is going to be name, email, biggest struggle, monthly revenue, and the size of team. So these are going to be the headers, and we're going to save all of the information into these separate columns. So we're simply going to click on refresh right here, and now we have a ton of different columns. Now, the main issue that we have right now is that all of the information we have is actually in the raw body right here. So if I simply insert this right now, it is going to put all of the information in this raw body. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to close this up real quick, and we're going to add a step in between, which is going to be Code by Zapier. With this Code by Zapier, we're going to choose an event, and we're going to run some JavaScript code. The action is going to be the input data, which we're going to add this data right here, which is going to be the raw body. So as you can see right now, since we only received all our information as a raw body, but we want to split it up into different variables, we are simply going to go ahead and add a step here, which is going to be Code by Zapier. We're then going to go ahead and click on event, which is going to be run JavaScript, and we're going to continue. Now for the action, we're going to use the input data, which is going to be raw body. We're going to select the raw body, which has all of our information right here. We're then going to go ahead and click on generate with AI and actually use AI to write this. So we're going to say extract the individual variables from the raw body. We're going to click on generate code, and it's actually going to go ahead and extract all of this code right here. We're going to go ahead and click on use code. We're going to click on continue, and we're going to go ahead and test this step. We're going to run the test, and as you can see, we have all of our stuff right here in individual variables. So we're going to go ahead and click on continue. And now when we're back in the Google Sheet, we're going to be able to go to action, and instead of using the raw body name, we're going to go to the run JavaScript code by Zapier, and we're going to fill in all this information. So we're going to take name, Emil, we're going to take the email, we're going to go ahead and take the biggest struggle, and you guys might note that this information is different than the one previously. That's because I retested it again without recording. Now we're going to insert the biggest struggle, which is right here, which is revenue. We're going to add in the monthly revenue, 10K a month, and the size of the team, 10. We're going to go ahead and click on continue, and we're going to test this step. It's now sending a spreadsheet row to Google, and we have all our information right here. We're now going to go ahead and click on publish, and it's publishing the Zap right now. Just jumping in real quick, guys, because I forgot to mention this, but actually inside of Zapier, you can do so much more stuff with this specific function. So you could, for example, add a step right here to send out an email via Gmail to the client with all the information about what you just collected about them, all the information. You can generate triggered ChatGPT tasks to write a proposal, and much more. So the opportunities of what you can do with the data that you collect that you send to Zapier are limitless. Adding it to a CRM is literally just the beginning. Now all we're going to do is we're going to go back to Flowise, and we're going to test it one more time. We're going to clear the chat, and we're going to have one more conversation right here. I'm simply going to say hi. I'm going to say my name is Lucas, and I'm struggling with sales. My monthly revenue is 2K per month. My team has 5 members, which is unrealistic for 2K per month, but whatever. My email is lucas@omnifusion.ai. Not a real email, by the way, so don't email it. And as you can see, it's run the update CRM tool. And if we go into the CRM, we now have all the information in real time. Lucas, we have the email, biggest struggle is sales, his monthly revenue, and the size of his team. And that is how you build Flowise Appointment Setter, which is able to retrieve knowledge from the knowledge base, has a custom tool in order to save information into a CRM, has memory, and has OpenAI hooked up with a full prompt where you can adjust the steps in whatever way you wish to. If you guys found value in this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future. Don't forget to join our school community in order to be able to access all of the code that we used in this video today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.